I'm so glad you can make it, darling. Rarity greeted Fluttershy enthusiastically, holding the door open. Of course. I'll always be happy to help, Fluttershy replied, her tone soft and smooth. Rarity closed the door of the boutique, blocking out the chill wind that whisked away the sunshine to make room for the dusk. Spinning around, the ivory unicorn led her friend upstairs and to the creation room, or the room where Rarity spun her ideas into wonderful works of art. In the center of the room, a lone mannequin stood, adorned with Rarity's latest vision. The base of the dress was a pale pink corset that could hardly get any simpler. Layered over that in sweeping tiers was a ruby-encrusted white silk, lined with gold ribbon. The chest piece was an intricate weaving of gold ribbon, with a single flower positioned in the center. Accenting the dress were heeled glass slippers, a simple gold ribbon bracelet, and a flower crown made of the finest roses, spaces between polished diamonds. Taking her time to admire the beautiful handiwork, Fluttershy paced circles around the dress. Noticing her discerning eyes, Rarity bit her lips. What do you think? Rarity asked with her normal composure, though a slight anxiousness could be detected in her voice. It's lovely. I'll be honored to even see it, much less try it on. I can't imagine how many bits this dress must cost. Fluttershy breathed in bewilderment. You like it? Rarity asked carefully, still doubting herself. I love it, Fluttershy confirmed with a soft smile. Do you want to try on? I'm sure I'll have to fix a few things, Rarity noted, trailing off at the end of her sentence. Yes, I'll like that very much, Fluttershy agreed, gingerly slipping the dress off the mannequin. While Rarity hurried off to get any supplies she might need, Fluttershy pulled the dress on, walking over to a mirror that was positioned conveniently in front of the room. The corset was snug, maybe a bit too much, but it did wonders for Fluttershy's form. Though her body looked nice on the average occasion, the corset pulled in her stomach and let out her hips, giving her the appearance of having luscious curves that any mare would die for. Fluttershy stepped away from the mirror as Rarity came back, wearing her glasses with a basket of supplies in her mouth. When she laid eyes on the canary-colored mare, her mouth fell open, sending her supplies crashing to the floor. Startled from her momentary daze, a heavy blush rose in Rarity's cheeks as she rushed to pick up her things. Once she reorganized herself, Rarity sucked in a deep breath, struggling to maintain her practiced composure. Fluttershy took notice of the crack in Rarity's elegant facade, letting a small grin tug at her lips, a light pink sweeping over her face as well. Well, I don't think any alterations will be necessary. You look stunning, Rarity said softly, still slightly flustered. Thank you, Fluttershy replied with a slight bow of her head. With that done, we have some time. Would you care for a glass of wine? Rarity asked politely. I don't... Fluttershy began, starting to say she didn't drink. With a soft smile, Fluttershy began again. I would love to. Great, Rarity replied, walking downstairs to the kitchen. Fluttershy, still wearing the dress, made her way behind the unicorn mare. She couldn't help but notice the way Rarity kept her stride short and her tail straight down. Fluttershy, though rather inexperienced with anything sexual, knew that Rarity was trying to hide her marehood. By the way she walked, Fluttershy guessed she was rather turned on by something, most likely herself in the dress. Pushing the thought aside, Fluttershy sat down on a stool at Rarity's bar counter. Once they reached the kitchen, the countertop was a beautiful black granite, cool to the touch. Each stool was covered with soft black leather with gold flecks in it. Rarity, coming over with 2 glasses, sat down. She picked up a bottle of 1988 Italian Chardonnay. It was rather expensive, but Rarity spared no cost on her friends. With a pop, a teal aura had pulled the cork from the bottle. With practiced poise, Rarity poured both glasses of the white wine, levitating Fluttershy over to her. Gratefully accepting the glass, Fluttershy took a sip. To her surprise, the wine went down with ease, warming her throat as it went. Rarity, much less cautious than her feathered friend, took a large swig of the drink in her glass. "Do you like it, Fluttershy? It is one of the best varieties I could find," Rarity noted, purposefully leaving out the price. "It's wonderful," Fluttershy affirmed, taking another, larger sip. To her pleasure, the white wine continued to slip down her throat. Without even realizing, Fluttershy had soon drained the glass. Seeing this, Rarity refilled both glasses with a smile. Fluttershy retrieved her glass, taking in a long breath, savoring the moment. The kitchen smelled vaguely of polish and cleaner, though the scent of the expensive wine was primarily drifting through the cool air. Continually sipping and refilling their glasses, the 2 mares sat for a while, simply enjoying the moment they shared. With just under 2 bottles polished off, Rarity stopped refilling the glasses, knowing the 2 of them would keep drinking until they couldn't anymore if she kept pouring more. "Thank you, Rarity. That was lovely," Fluttershy said after a moment with her glass emptied. "It's no problem. I love spending time with you," Rarity replied, her tongue loosening a bit as the wine started to get to her. Fluttershy could see her poised facade crumple a bit. "Me too," Fluttershy agreed, a soft grin pulling the corners of her lips up. "No, I don't love spending time with you," Rarity admitted with a soft sigh. "I love you, Fluttershy." "I love you too, Rarity," Fluttershy replied in a cheery tone, her smile growing. "No, not like that. I love you as in more than just a friend, Fluttershy," Rarity insisted, resting her head on a hoof and clenching her eyes shut. The unicorn mare's lavender hair draped down over her face, seeming to hide her from the truth that Fluttershy may only like her as a friend. Proving this theory wrong, Fluttershy swept back Rarity's hair, smiling kindly down at her. "I knew what you meant, Rarity, and I meant what I said. I love you," Fluttershy concluded gently. Looking up, Rarity let a smile cover her face, marveling at how beautiful Fluttershy looked in the elegant dress. It was nearly too much for the seamstress to take in. Rarity took a deep breath before leaning over the counter, pressing her lips to Fluttershy's. With gentle love and care, Fluttershy returned a slow, meaningful kiss. She wrapped the hoof around Rarity's neck, pulling the cream-colored mare closer over the counter. Lost in the moment, Rarity hardly even noticed when she shoved one of her priceless wine glasses to the floor, shattering it. Only Fluttershy mattered right now. For a moment, Rarity pulled back to catch her breath. Before Rarity could do so much as blink, Fluttershy had pulled her back, locking their lips together in a more hungry, passionate kiss. Fluttershy, never having loved before, craved the attention, the passion. "I need you. I need this," Fluttershy moaned, her mouth still pressed to Rarity's. Pulling back once more, Rarity could ignore the disappointment that flashed across her friend's face. With a sultry smile in the back of her eyes, Rarity gazed over at Fluttershy. Well, darling, I suppose you wouldn't mind taking this somewhere more comfortable. Rarity purred, slightly breathless from their kiss. A red blush burned through Florshy's cheeks, but she made no objection. Wrapping both lovers in her magical aura, Rarity transported them to her bedroom, sliding the door shut with a flick of her horn. Florshy moved closer to Rarity, aching for more attention. Before Rarity let Florshy back at her, the dress disappeared in a flash of teal sparks, moved back to the mannequin in the other room. Florshy was suddenly all too aware of her bare coat. A light blush crawled over her face, but she was left no time to dwell on it. Rarity pushed Florshy up against the footboard of the bed, hungrily lacing their lips together. Florshy pushed back against Rarity, delving into the deep kiss. Tipsy from too much wine, Rarity stumbled back, caught off guard by Florshy's eagerness, soon returning the same heated intensity. Rarity pushed her chest up to Florshy's, feeling any space between them was too much. Twisting around to climb up onto the bed, Florshy broke the kiss, though she never wanted to separate from the ivory unicorn. Rarity quickly followed suit, pushing Florshy's back into the plush comforter that laid out on the bed. Quickly pushing their lips back together, Florshy pulled Rarity's head down to hers with urgency, her hooves groping through Rarity's mane, which was now damp with sweat. Though the kiss seemed to fly by so quickly, Rarity stopped to breathe, pressing her hips down so that they settled against Florshy's. At the sensations of Rarity's nearness, a quiver went through Florshy's body, followed by a short moan. Florshy started to grind her slit against Rarity's swollen, aching mirrorhood. Since she had been holding back her arousal all night, the small gesture sent a jolt of pleasure through Rarity's abdomen. Struggling to stifle a throaty moan, Rarity buried her muzzle in Florshy's pale, pink mane. Florshy continued, sending waves of pleasure through Rarity, who could no longer contain herself. She pushed into Florshy's movements, taking in deep whiffs of the scents of mixed juices, only to let out a long, desperate moan after. The fire in Rarity's loin was raging far beyond compared to anything she had ever felt. Crying out for release, Rarity dug her hooves into the bedspread, desperation consuming her mind, which was clouded slightly from the alcohol. Suddenly, Florshy pulled away from Rarity, stifling her own moans as her wings slowly unfurled, betraying her attempts at hiding her own arousal from Rarity, who had quit trying to hide her feelings some time ago. "Keep going," Rarity urged, her muscles twitching and tensing, ready to release and ease the heat in her loins. "What's the fun in that?" Florshy asked in a teasing tone, though she herself was rather eager for release. "Please, darling," Rarity asked once more. In response, Florshy settled herself on top of Rarity's chest, playfully nipping her ear and flicking her tail to spread her scent. Moving her hips slightly, Florshy no longer tried to clench shut her throbbing wings. All of a sudden, she spun round, pushing her tongue against Rarity's slit. She pushed her forwards aside, licking up fresh juice that washed over Florshy's muzzle. Rarity tensed up beneath her before hitting her climax. Instead of moving to the side, Florshy swallowed down every bit she could, though some made its way into her silky mane. After drifting down from her high, Rarity relaxed into the bed, panting heavily. She caught her breath before rolling over on top of Florshy. She pushed her hooves into the base of Florshy's nearly preened wings. Quickly massaging them, Rarity nipped at the tips, watching Florshy quiver and moan at the new sensations that washed over her. With calculated accuracy, Rarity went back and forth from the base to the tips of Fluttershy's wings, taking note of the spots that made her squirm. Kneading the muscle in the base of her wings, Rarity placed her lips at the small of Fluttershy's neck. Laying a trail of kisses, the unicorn made her way up to the supple lips of her lover. She thrust her tongue inside of her mouth, letting the faint taste of alcohol swirl with the juices of her own arousal. Exploring Fluttershy's mouth while massaging her wings simply wasn't enough to satisfy the mare. Rarity swept her tail across Fluttershy's sensitive slit, making Fluttershy moan into her mouth. Soon, Fluttershy came up to her release, soaking the once neatly made bed. With both mares out of breath, they simply lay basking in their relative afterglows. After what seemed to be an eternity, Fluttershy moved over to Rarity's side, draping a wing over her side and pulling her close. A true smile danced across Rarity's lips as she gingerly embraced the canary-colored mare, landing a soft, caring kiss on her lips. Though it lasted no longer than a few seconds, both mares felt its gravity. It was a silent vow of their feeling, their love. "Well," Rarity said with a giggle, "would you like to have another glass of wine?"